Hey, JK here. I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me. Welcome to episode 20 of this fantasy baseball season. I am excited because we are getting ready to wrap up the regular season here in about 2 or 3 weeks and then get to the playoffs. And, you know, as much as I'm looking forward to it, there was a little bit of a realization this week. Some of these teams may not be going. That's sad. But we'll talk about those as we get to them. This is going to be a big week for us. These next few weeks will actually be big for us and anyone else playing fantasy because we're at the end of the season. This is make or break for us. We have to make those crucial adds and drops and forecast what a team or player will be doing in general because there are going to be guys who are going to be on pitching limits. There are going to be guys who won't necessarily be going the 5 innings to get the win. But of course, if they're saddled with the loss, you know, obviously that's not good for us. But there are going to be guys who are going to be called up as the rosters expand. Who are we going to then rely on to get us some of those huge, and crucial stats? There are going to be guys who are shifted from starters to bulk relievers, and then also guys who are given a chance from bulk relieving to starting. So it's going to be a really shifty type of environment this next month. But let's not jump ahead of ourselves. We are going to talk about week 20. Week 19 going into 20 in some cases. But we're going to start with the Peach Creek Purgatory team, where this week we won 895 to 711, bringing our record to 13-7. We're in a 3-way tie with the other teams, 3rd, 4th, and 5th place. I was really hoping one of them was going to lose this week to make my path to the playoffs even clearer, because the top 6 teams do go. So there's a good chance I make it, but knock on wood, I don't want to jinx myself. But if we have continued play for some of our top performers, I have no doubt about our playoff chances. Our top performer, Framber Valdez, with 92 points, followed by Blake Snell with 88. Then it's kind of a steep drop off. Trey Turner with 56. The guys who did not do as well for us, Ketel Marte only got 7 points, but he also hurt himself and ended up going on the IR. Then Tyler Phillips, who had a really good matchup with a very depleted Miami Marlins team, only got me 5 points. And then Jose Quintana against a very surprising and troublesome Oakland Athletics lineup, got me -4. Now, some of our ads did in fact help us. We picked up Jake McCarthy. That was huge for us because this man has absolutely learned how to hit again. We also picked up Mr. Joey Estes from those troublesome Athletics. He had a pretty good matchup. I didn't start him. I also did not start him tonight as I am seeing him going against the Tampa Bay Rays. Again, just trying to be smart with it, even though I did also start Jose Quintana. So you can't say I always make the best decision. We also added Leo Taveras and Kenta Maeda. Kenta Maeda was the bulk reliever against the Mariners. I was kind of worried about it, but I was like, hey, let me get some free extra points. And he actually performed very well. The drops did include Abraham Toro, Tyler Phillips, and Tyler Alexander. So again, this leaves the Peachy Purgatory team with a 13-7 record. If we win out, we are in. So just win, baby. Next, we're going to go ahead and get the bad team out of the way. Russell, my Jim Jams. We lost 1 category to 12 categories to 3 categories, bringing our record to 115, 161, and 44. In all seriousness, I'm just trying to ride this year out, see who is dropped on the waiver wire to see if I can keep them. I will say this league has a lot of keepers, and I'm really not a fan of it. Now, I know Petrie Purgatory, the team we just talked about, has like 40 some odd keepers, so that's kind of ridiculous. But this team, you only get 2 or 3 picks, which again, same with Petrie Purgatory, but I feel like it's a bigger team, and I guess I have a better team. In any case, that's kind of frustrating. But in any case, no way of making the playoffs here. It's, again, just wait and die, to be honest with you. But there were some guys who did well for us, so we're going to call their individual stats. CJ Abrams had 5 stolen bases for us, so that was pretty phenomenal. We also had 4 walks from Tommy Pham. We also had a pretty good stat line by Willie Castro, 2 home runs, 3 extra base hits, and 6 RBIs. And then Brandon Nimmo, 2 home runs, 3 extra base hits, and 4 RBIs. And then Bryce Miller, 7 innings, 9 strikeout ball. Also, Martin Perez had, I think, 9 strikeouts, so that was great for us. Those 2 guys, You did something for us. As far as the guys who didn't do well, Lane Thomas, still cold. Logan O'Hoppe, only 0 for 9. That's not good. Conforto, you didn't do much for me. I picked you up. I was like, okay, dude, you might be getting some good hits now that Jorge Soler is gone. You might be the go-to guy. Well, you didn't start one game, and that's how I sat you the next game, and then you hit a pinch hit home run. I missed that. In any case, Fairbanks, oh my goodness. Craig Kimbrell, oh my goodness. And then Clay Holmes. All of you blew saves. And, Pete Fairbanks, you did so in a dramatic way. Holy crap, your ERA was 40. That's terrible. And then terrible starts from Robbie Ray and Merrill Kelly. I didn't mean to start Merrill Kelly. I really didn't. And then I'm thinking back, I probably shouldn't have started Robbie Ray. He was going against the Braves. And I don't care if they're down some of their star players, even if they're only pitchers. Probably should not have started Robbie Ray. So let's go ahead to the ads and drops. It's a bit of a list, so let's go ahead and read these off. The ads did include Michael Conforto, Jacob Young, because I needed some stolen bases. That didn't work out for me. George Springer, who tonight has hit 2 home runs, so that was great. And then Matt Verling, third base and outfield eligibility. The drops did include Jose Caballero, who I missed a 3 stolen base game from. Go figure. Also, Matt Strahm just wasn't getting enough, and a very crowded bullpen for the Phillies. Mackenzie Gore, who really just fell from grace. So highly touted, and he had some decent games, in these last few years, but just can't seem to put it together. Roseau dropped Paul DeJong, which I missed a few home run games from him. Josh Smith, who's fallen off of injury, Chris Bassett, and then finally Michael Conforto. So we added him and then dropped him in the same week, and it's frustrating because again I had hopes for him before he went out with, I think it was a wrist injury. He was doing pretty good. He was hitting like 260 or so, had some home runs, had that pairing with Jorge Soler, and then also some other not as big names, but still doing well for him. And then injuries ravaged him, including Jorge Soler now in Atlanta. But then you also lost Lamont Wade for a little bit. Tyro Estrada just forgot how to play. The emergence of Tyler Fitzgerald has been great for them, but it's not really helping Michael Conforto. But that's enough about Russell, my Jim James. They're pretty much out of the playoffs unless I go on this crazy, miraculous winning spree and everyone else just loses. But I don't see that happening. So we're going to move to South Harmon Institute of Technology, where I won this week 11 categories to 4 categories. Huge wins for me. Oh gosh, it's so mad. I should have had an extra category, so I should have won 12. But I lost by I don't know. I think I started a pitcher that I shouldn't have. Maybe it was Pete Fairbanks. So he got blown up and I ended up losing whip by a little bit. But in any case, this 11-win week actually propelled us into the playoffs. Now, there's still 2 or 3 weeks left. And it's unfortunate, 2 weeks left, excuse me. And it's unfortunate because I'm playing the number 1 and number 2 teams in the East Division. I'm in the West, so they're in the East. And unfortunately, one of those teams is going to get into the playoffs, potentially over me. Because the East is really weak. Really weak. Me, as the 3rd or 4th place team in the West, has a higher record than the 1st place team, who I'm playing this week, in the East. So, very unfortunate. If I'm knocked out of the playoffs because of one of them 2 teams, that's going to be very frustrating, especially if I do end up with a higher record than them. But thing is, I'm 1 game ahead of the 5th place team that would get in. So, yeah, just a teeny tiny bit of wiggle room. So we have 1 game to play with. That is not enough for me to feel comfortable, but we have to make sure over these next 2 weeks we make the right ads, we make the right drops, we make the right starts, we sit the right people, we don't miss out on super crucial stats like a walk. I won by one walk, or I won that category by one walk this week. So that really made me think about some of the guys I had that just weren't getting walks, that weren't having a good eye at the plate, at least as of recently. So I had to make some cuts already this week. But let's go ahead and get to the people who helped us last week. And the top one was Francisco Lindor. 18 total bases, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, and 3 walks. So that was great for us. Followed by Brandon Nimmo, 12 total bases, 2 home runs, and 4 RBIs. I think he only added 2 walks, but hey, one of those obviously helped us. And then Eugenio Suarez, 10 total bases, 1 home run, and 5 RBIs. This man has come to life as of late. Now, batting average is still high 220s, low 230s, but he's got a team in Arizona hitting around him, so he's no longer the cleanup hitter. Even with Christian Walker out, Eugenio Suarez is still doing work. And obviously, you have Jock Peterson, you have McCarthy, you have some guy named Corbin Carroll finally coming to life. Not really good for me if I'm playing against him, but for the Arizona Diamondbacks at least, it's good. We also get to talk about Matt Olson. He had 5 walks, and then Bryce Turang had 3 stolen bases and 3 walks. Pretty much the only life we have seen from Bryce Turang in quite a while. Now, for the guys that didn't do well for us, Michael Garcia, you had 3 total bases the entire week. And I was starting you over Bryce Turang. Come on, man. Need more from you. Brent Rooker, you only had 4 total bases. Now, you have been phenomenal. You are coming off an injury. Actually, was it injury? I think it was a paternity leave. But in any case, you're coming off of having a few days off. Still need you to be hitting, man. I got 2 babies myself, but come on, man. This is fantasy, right? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not trying to put that much pressure on him and say, like, my fantasy team is more important than his babies. But in any case, do need you to step it up this upcoming week. Lane Thomas, you had 0 total bases. God, you are bad now in Cleveland. And then blown saves by I was going to say Field Yates. That is definitely fantasy football. Kirby Yates and Carlos Estevez blown saves by them too, so that's not good. Let's go ahead and get to the adds and drops. We added Austin Wells, who has really been good for us. We also added Tyler Phillips, who was nothing but a bust. Paul Blackburn, who really did not do as well as he probably should have. JJ Bleday, I like saying that name. Michael Conforto. And then finally, last but not least, Andrew Abbott. Which I'm reading that. Andrew Abbott is a guy that I really like because he did go to UVA. I have roots in Virginia. But man, you walk so many guys. My Lord. So you are one of the guys that we did drop, along with Patrick Bailey, who has fallen off the face of the earth, along with Daniel Hudson, who promptly ended up getting a save and or a hold for us, so I missed out on that. Lane Thomas, Paul Blackburn, Tyler Phillips, and Michael Conforto. So if you see a trend, Conforto was not on any of my teams. And now we move to the Funky Junky Joker Monkeys of the Fantrax League. We were able to come out with a win, 445 to 389. As much closer than it needed to be, the guy I was playing was number 1 in the other conference. He also did fail to start all of his pitchers, so situation where he maybe could have won, but I'm glad he did not. We had some stellar performances, but none bigger than Carlos Santana, who led our team with 40 points. Holy cow, big man coming up big for us. While Pablo Lopez with 35, and then Bryce Miller with 28. Some of the guys that didn't do as well for us, Joe Musgrove, you only got 5 points, man. Lawrence Butler, you only got me 2. Fun fact, surprise, you hit the chopping block. We also had Matt Verling, only got me 2 points, and then Lane Thomas in your playing time got me -1. How bad are you? Like, you were great. You were a super player from the time you got off the injured list until you were traded from Washington to the Indians, and you forgot how to play, dude. That's very unfortunate. Now let's move to the adds and drops. We added Joey Estes, Matt Verling, and Tyler Alexander because Alexander was a bulk reliever. The drops did include Ryan Walker, Lane Thomas, and Jeff Hoffman. The Funky Junky Joker Monkeys are in good shape right now. Unfortunately, we're playing 2 of the top teams these next few weeks, and as much as I want to make sure we are winning, being, I think, 3rd out of 10, the top 6 go to the playoffs, we can afford to lose. I'd rather get the losses out now instead of in the playoffs, naturally. Quite a few weeks left to play. So that's why we're going to move to the Kent Murphy Dingers, where I did come out with a win this week, 6-4, playing against a new guy that was added to the league who hasn't changed his roster in I don't even know how long, and that's very frustrating. So it is what it is. I don't know if it's good or bad. I say that I almost lost. Not lost, but I almost tied him because I really thought that he was going to get me in strikeouts because I only had like a 3 strikeout lead on him, and he had like 3 pitchers going. I only had 1. But luckily, between my relievers and my pitcher, they were able to get me enough to where I won. I won by like 5, so it was very surprising. I guess the luck of the draw did have his final pitcher being Marcus Stroman, who had, I think, a season high, like 5 strikeouts, or like high as of like the last month or two of 5 strikeouts. I was like, oh gosh, I'm kind of nervous, but still had a lot of room to spare. Now let's go to the guys that did well for us. Adolis Garcia finally found in some life, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, and 5 runs scored. Alec Boehm, 1 home run, 5 RBIs, and 4 runs scored. Ty Fitzgerald, you've been a godsend for us. You had 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, so obviously some guys on base, and 2 stolen bases. And then we had a few single home runs from the guys including Jose Altuve, Royce Lewis, Alec Burleson, and Matt Olson. We also got 2 saves from Kirby Yates, not Field Yates. Guys who didn't do well for us. Let's go ahead and talk about Lane Thomas again. You've had a cold month. Unfortunately, Mason Wynn, you had a slow week. Okay? I think you had like 1 run for us. Of course, I sat you 2 games and you hit home runs in those 2 games. CJ Abrams. Oh, golly. Because I have Mason Wynn, because I have Jackson Holiday, and because I have Jose Altuve, it's really tough to find a space for you now, essentially because you dropped off a little bit. So I missed a 3 stolen base game from you. I'm so mad. But, I mean, I'm glad you're coming around. I also missed the home run game from you tonight, as I sat you in favor of, I believe, Mason Wynn and or Jose Altuve. So it is what it is. We also had a blown save from freaking Kirby Yates, dude. So definitely not helping my ERA. Also, Craig Kimbrell, dude, you haven't pitched in a few days, and the last time you did, you gave up 3 earned runs. Johan Duran, you did have a save or 2 for me, but you gave up some runs. So I don't know what the heck is going on with my relievers. We definitely have to make a move or make some moves because I really thought my saves were going to be my thing. I thought stolen bases were going to be my thing too, but it is what it is. Now let's get to the adds and drops. I felt good about some of these adds and drops, mainly because it was just 2 drops and 1 ad. The ad was Paul Blackburn, but you didn't have the greatest game. And the drops did include David Festa and Hayden Birdsong. Yeah, not a super exciting ad drop, but talking about super exciting or not super exciting, I finally came to the realization I cannot make the playoffs. I'm officially out of the playoffs. And I came to this realization because I was thinking, holy crap, I won last week. If I win this week and somehow, pull off a few more wins, if I get 3 more wins, that would bring me to the 5-12-2 record to potentially an 8-12-2 record. It's like, holy crap, I'd have 9 wins. Well, the guy ahead of me, or the person that would be in 6th spot, 6th spot to make the playoffs. I'm in 8th, but we'll see if I can jump 7th. Point being, 6th spot, if he loses out, he still has 9.5 wins. So, I'm officially out. I cannot make the playoffs. That's super frustrating. So, I'm just going to have to work the waiver wire. There are a few guys I still have that are great late season guys to think about using as keepers next year. We're going to talk about that here in a few weeks. But yeah, very somber moment because it's officially official. Now the playoffs. So now we're going to move to the Cheese Weasels. Still in 4th spot. 112.5 points, so we moved up a little bit. This team, has really fallen off. I looked at the stats today, and it's like the closest stat I am in to the next person in the hitting categories is like 10, between 10 and 30. So possible, yes. Probable, no. Pitching wise, I'm within like 3 wins. I'm leading strikeouts. No way I'm catching holds. But you know, the guy behind me, he's like 2 or 3 holds away. So definitely have to keep that up. I feel really good with saves. I think I have like a 10 save lead. So yeah. Let's go ahead and get to the people who did well for me. We had 1 home run each from the following guys. Hyung-Sung Kim, Marcell Ozuna, Trey Turner, Austin Wells, and we also had Jake Cronenworth, who had a home run. We also had 5 walks, so that was phenomenal for us. We also had 2 home runs from Mason Wynn and Jake McCarthy, 2 stolen bases, and he has been on fire at the plate, hitting .389. Whoo, that is great for us. Guys who did not do well for us. Well, pretty much everyone. Tyler Phillips, Jose Quintana, Kirby Yates. I sat Mason Wynn, so I missed a few of his stats, but also sat Stott and Garcia, so I missed a few home runs and missed a few stolen bases. So it's very unfortunate. So let's go to the ass drops. It is a list, so we're going to go for it. We added Jake McCarthy, Jorge Soler, Paul Blackburn, Martin Perez, Tyler Phillips, Jose Quintana, Kerry Carpenter, Sean Manaea, Tyler Stevenson, and Lucas Eckridge. Ersage. We dropped David Festa, Colin Ray, Lane Thomas, Paul Blackburn, Ryan McMahon, who has fallen off the face of the earth, Tyler Phillips, Martin Perez, Jose Quintana, Lawrence Butler, and Sean Manaea. Cheese Weasels are kind of a long shot to make it back to first, but we did hold first there for a little bit, and it was so wonderful. I feel like we always start hot, slow down, kind of slump, and then hopefully these last few weeks we can pick it up. We have done that in the past, but it's really an uphill battle. So again, we have time. It's going to be tough. That's going to do it for the recaps. Obviously, in some leagues, we're doing really good. We're in good shape, sitting pretty. In other leagues, it has been deemed official that we are no longer playoff contenders. That hurts my heart. That hurts my mind because I'm like, oh, yes, I know how to draft. I know how to pick keepers. And I don't. Or at least I didn't show my full potential this past year. Thankfully, there are many years to go, and hopefully I can pass this knowledge on to others. And maybe you take some of my knowledge or lack thereof and say, hey, I don't want to make the same mistake he did, or hey, yeah, that was a pretty good ad you suggested last week. I'm going to strongly consider that you add Jorge Lopez as a closer now for the Cubs. However, Phil Hodge could take that place. They could bump a few other guys back. I mean, who knows? Drew Smyly picked up a save earlier this year. I don't see him being the guy, but who knows what the Cubs are going to do because they have officially released Hector Neris. Someone else you could be looking at for saves, probably not going to be the guy unless Ryan Walker has an implosion. Jordan Hicks. He has moved to bulk reliever bullpen, just like he was in St. Louis, which I think that's probably where he is best fit. So, if you need some holds or saves, Jordan Hicks might be your guy. As far as at the plate, I don't think there's any question about it. Jake McCarthy has absolutely remembered how to hit the ball, so you should probably add him. And finally, there's been a revelation in Arizona at catcher with Gabriel Moreno being down. Adrian Del Castillo has taken off. He has plated multiple RBI games in the last 10 games, hitting some big time homers. Last night he plated 6, so that's crazy, and that's obviously a multiple RBI game, but 6. I think the Diamondbacks only scored 9. So yeah, if you need a catcher, that's your man. And again, I've already said Jake McCarthy. You have Jock Peterson, who is going to sit against some other guys. So you have that option. So, yeah, man, it's good to be a Diamondback fan right now because you have lots of options. Pitching-wise, I mean, they're not doing terrible. Paft, Merrill Kelly not doing so great. But Eduardo Rodriguez won tonight against Miami. That was good for him. I think 5 1/3, 1 earned run. I think he had 5 strikeouts. So that was good. That's going to do it for the recaps. That's going to do it for the ads. Check your teams, their farm systems, who they're going to bring up, and give a look at these last few weeks of the season. This is Jake Aiken, and I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me.